One of your assignments for this week will be texture, and that's one of the elements of music. And on the Google Classroom, you will see the next assignment. Listen to the following examples and write down whether it is an example of monophonic, homophonic, heterophonic, or polyphonic music. It's very important that you always give a reason for the answer that you're giving. And then I have different examples there. So you click on that to listen to the YouTube video and you answer in the little block. Now I've got 15 questions there. And you will see that the total is out of 30. So it's very important that you also give a reason for each of the answers. Now you can't do the assignment if you don't go through this video and really study the different descriptions and elements and the texture. Texture is one of the basic elements of music. When you describe the texture of a piece of music, you are describing how much is going on in the music at any given moment. For example, the texture of the music might be thick or thin, and it can have a few layers or a lot of layers. You can only have rhythm maybe, or you have a melody line with chordal accompaniment or many interweaving melodies. Now there are a lot of informal terms that can describe the texture of a piece of music. Thick, thin, bass heavy, complex. Maybe the melody is complex or the rhythm is complex. But the formal terms that are used to describe texture are all describe the relationship of melodies and harmonies. Now it's important that you understand a layer. A layer is an instrumental line. Doubling can be heard when an instrument or a group of instrument or voice perform the same line or melody or musical material of another instrument, sometimes in a different octave. So one high, one low. That is doubling. And there I hear doubling. I have the oboe and the melody playing exactly the same material. So there I have the voices and the strings, and they play the same melody. That's also doubling. Now the next term is unison. Unison is created when instruments or voices perform the same melody at the same pitch. It can also be a higher octave or a lower octave, but they have the same melody at the same pitch. That's an example of unison. At unison, we see that, you understand that now, and now we go to motion. Contrary motion, we have different layers or parts whose pitch moves in the opposite direction. So if I added a piano section here, you will see that the one ascends, and then the other one must descend. If one leaps up, the other one must leap down, and that is contrary motion. Similar motion is created when more than one part plays the same melody. Okay. So I have identical shape. If you look at the notes there, C, D, C, D, C, D. They all play the same notes and they have exactly the same identical shape. Parallel motion is created when two parts have the same shape, but they move in the same direction and they have different notes, so they create harmony. One plays E, F, G, A, G, C, and the other one plays C, D, E, F, E, E. So most of the time they move in parallel motion, but they don't have the same notes. Oblique is when one part stays on the same note the whole time, like a drone, repeating note, and the other part moves. So it's important that you understand. Let's go from the beginning here. Contrary motion, okay, contrary motion, similar motion, parallel motion, oblique motion, that you understand those terms. It's also important that you understand a broken chord or arpeggio, chordal, continue, basso continue, full chords, the pa, pa that I get in a waltz, the term a cappella, that's without any accompaniment, canon, we've done that with our ABCs, density is how thick or thin something is, fugue, we will see that again in polyphonic music, tutti, everybody, and unison, that you understand those terms. Now the first word to describe texture is monophony. You see there, one line, monophonic music. It has only one melodic line, so you see just one layer with no harmony or counterpoint. There may be rhythmic accompaniment, but only one line that has different pitches. Monophonic music can also be called monophony. People sing happy birthday in unison is a good example. If some singers were singing the melody with slight variations or ornamentations, it doesn't sound the same anymore, and then the texture would be heterophonic. It's also sometimes called monody, although this term can also refer to a particular type of solo song of the Baroque era. So monophonic is a single melody line with no harmony, and it can only have a rhythmical accompaniment with that. Now the next one is homophonic music. Homophonic music can also be called homophony. More informally, people who are describing homophonic music may mention chord accompaniment, harmony or harmonies. Homophony has one clear melodic line. So there I see the line, and then I have accompaniment. Okay? It's the line that naturally draws your attention. That is the melody line. All other parts provide accompaniment. In most well-written homophony, the parts that are not melody may still have a lot of melodic interest. So it can be quite interesting. They may follow many of the rules of well-written counterpoint, and they can sound quite different from the melody and be interesting to listen to by themselves. But when they are sung or played with a melody, it is clear that they are not independent melodic parts, either because they have the same rhythm as the melody. Here I see in this hymn example, I see that they all have the same rhythm. Okay? Because their main purpose is to fill in the chords or harmony. They're not really the melody. So melody and accompaniment is homophonic. Homophonic is a clear melodic line with accompaniment. So there I have mi, fa, mi, re, do, ti, do, do. And the rest, that's only part of the accompaniment. We have done a lot of polyphonic music when we listen to the Baroque era and the composers of the Baroque era. So polyphonic music can also be called polyphony, counterpoint, or contrapuntal music. So look at all those different lines and layers that you see there. If more than one independent melody is occurring at the same time, the music is polyphonic. So it can be counterpoint, polyphony, counterpoint, more than one melody at the same time. And here I have an example of that, you see. So this is like a canon. They all start at different times. There's the one melody, and this starts a bar later, and that starts a bar later. Heterophonic music is rare in Western music, but I can find that. We said that with that example of Happy Birthday, the moment that everybody sings the same, it is in unison. But if we have different soloists singing Happy Birthday together and they all make their own little ornamentations, that is heterophony. There's one melody, but different variations of it are being sung or played at the same time. I find that a lot in gamelan music, music from Asia, Indonesia, Western music. Okay, different versions of the same melody that is decorated. You see there, that one puts in a little bit of a variation there. That one adds a note there. That note value is different. Add some notes there, add a note there, and also a little note there. And that's an example of monophonic music. They all sing the same melodic line. It's also monophonic. I have one instrument playing there. Let's listen to that. While you read that again. I'm sure you hear the melody there. The rest is accompaniment. Polyphonic music. A canon is also, or a round is also an example of polyphonic music. You hear all the melodies there, so it's more than one melody. Another example of polyphonic music. An example of heterophonic music. You hear the same melody, but it's decorated, different versions of the same melody. Look at the layers there. Same melody, but with all the decorations. So study all the elements, especially the monophonic, homophonic, heterophonic and polyphonic music, so that you can do your assignment on the Google Classroom, and remember that you have to give a reason for each answer. So if I give a reason, I say that I hear one layer, or I hear people singing in unison if it's monophonic. If it's homophonic, I hear a melody and accompaniment. If it's polyphonic, I have more than one melodic line. And heterophonic, they sing the same thing or they play the same thing, but they all have little variations that they add. So study this before you do your assignment.